नहमदुहु व नसल्ली अला रसूलिहिल करीम अम्मा बाद फ़अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली रब्बि यस्सिर व ला तुअस्सिर व तम्मिम बिल खैर आमीन या रब्बल आलमीन. We are working at Jumla failure in the past tense, i.e. fail Madi. We understand that Jumla failure has a minimum of two components, fail and file. And that the file is always marfu, or we can say file is always in the state of rafa. Previously we know that mubtada is always in rafa, khabar is also always in rafa, and now we have added that file is also always in rafa. Now file could be either dhamir, i.e. pronoun, or it could be an ism other than dhamir. When our file is dhamir, it is attached to the file, except that in Siga 1 and Siga 4 it's not visible at all. It is completely hidden. In Siga 1 our file is huwa, hidden in there, and in case of Siga 4 our file is hiya. When file is an ism other than the mir, then it is written separately from the file, as in this example. We have already conjugated zahaba. So zahaba is the first conjugation form which is Siga 1, and zahaba means he went. So he is hidden there. He in the form of huwa is hidden there. So if we want to say Hamid went, we are going to say in Arabic Zahaba Hamidun. Hamid went. Now we can say that the file has become kind of ism zahir, ism visible, a way of saying it, but basically our file is an ism other than the mir, and when that is the case, it is written separate from the verb. So when we say Hamid went, now the huwa, which is in the form of the mir, that doesn't exist here anymore. It is gone. So we cannot really conceptualize that huwa is also there, and now we have got our file, another file in a way, Hamid. No, it doesn't work like that. When we have an ism which is separate from file and written separately from verb, then the hidden dhamir doesn't exist. Okay, let's move on. Look at these two sentences. Zahaba Hamidun, Hamid went, and Nasara Hamidun, Hamid helped. So what is the difference between these two sentences? In the first one, when we say Zahaba Hamidun, Hamid went, the action of going has taken place on Hamid, i.e. on the file itself. And from the action of the file point of view, the information is complete. Otherwise, information we can say is still incomplete. We don't know where Hamid went, and we can say Zahaba Hamidun ila suki. Hamid went to the market. But as far as action of the verb is concerned, action of the fail is concerned, the information is complete. The action of going has taken place on Hamid, which is our file. In this example, Nasara Hamidun, Hamid helped. The action of helping has not taken place on Hamid. Hamid is our file, and action of helping is going to take place on another entity. I have written here, we can say Nasara Hamidun Zaidan. Hamid helped Zaid. So the information is kind of different here compared to the information here. So what is the difference between these two sentences as far as grammar terminology is concerned? We know that in English, this is our intransitive verb and this is our transitive verb. And the terminology in Arabic is that intransitive verb is called fail lazim, written here. So this is our fail lazim, and transitive verb is called fail mutaaddi. And because we are learning Arabic, so it is important to become familiar with this terminology. Now, next what I have written here is Hamidun fil masjidi, and you will immediately recognize that this is not Jumla Failya. This is Jumla Ismiya. So we are working on Jumla Failya, and what is this Jumla Ismiya doing here? I have brought it for two reasons. One, to revise the ism. We have to keep on revising the ism and the principles that govern the use of different asma. We cannot forget them completely. And second, in the last video, we looked at an ayah. خَتَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ وَعَلَى سَمْعِهِمْ وَعَلَى أَبْصَارِهِمْ غِشَاوَةٌ وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. This ayah of Surah Baqarah, I think ayah number 5. So we analyzed at the time that khatama is our verb, just like zahaba. So if we say khatama, that means he put a seal on. When we say khatamallahu, Allahu, lafz jalala is in rafa, so that's our file. So Allah put a seal on ala kulubihim, on their hearts. So ala kulubihim is our murakkabe jari, and in this murakkabe jari, as we discussed, we have murakkabe idafi as well. So kulubihim is mudaf ilayh, which is our murakkabe idafi, and that murakkabe idafi becomes ism majroor for our jar, harfe jar ala. So ala kulubihim, on their hearts. And we said at that time that this jar majroor, which is murakkabe jari, prepositional phrase, in that particular example was, we said, is actually that it is mutalliq fail. Okay, so if that was mutalliq fail and that is mutalliq fail, fil masjidi is also jar majroor. So whose mutalliq is this here? If you remember, we have discussed that this is muta'alliq khabar. So khabar is not present here. So in the absence of khabar, jar majroor becomes standing in for khabar. And when something is standing in for something, they are doing the job of that entity. For example, if Prime Minister is away on leave, and standing in Prime Minister will fill in the place and become standing in Prime Minister. But actually, in fact, although not elected Prime Minister, but in the absence of Prime Minister, will be doing all the activities of the Prime Minister. So our khabar, which is our jar majroor, which is mutalliq khabar and standing in for khabar, is actually our khabar here. So because this is a murakkab, we will say this is in the slot of, in the parking place of rafa, where rafa is supposed to be. This construction, this murakkab, this phrase is in state of rafa. So in that case, it becomes, this is our mubtada and that becomes our khabar, and they combine to make jumla ismiya. So where is khabar? A khabar is not always written or said. In this particular example, what is dropped or mahzoof is the word mawjudun. So basically the complete sentence will be Hamidun mawjudun. Hamid is present. We can see clear marker of rafa here. Here we can't see marker of rafa when we say, we can't really say then that ism is marfu, because rafa is our ism and marfu is sifa of that ism and related to that ism. So here there is no clear markers of Rafa compared to this. So we will say this is in the state of Rafa, in place of Rafa, in the place of Rafa. And clearly this is Marfu. This is also in state of Rafa, but Marfu as well. So Hamidin Mawjudan, Hamid is present, or Mubtada Khabar, and Fil Masjidi, in the mosque, is our Muta'alliq Khabar. And in this example, this Mubtada Khabar and Muta'alliq Khabar combine to make Jumla Ismiya. So we've got three components of Jumla Ismiya here. Similarly, we have three components of Jumla Fe'liya here as well. When we say, in this example, we have only two components, basic components. Zahaba Hamidun, Hamid went. Here it is Nasara Hamidun Zaidan. Hamid helped Zaid. So, what is the function of Zaid here? Zaid is our maf'ul, the object. So, this is our fail, the verb, subject, and object. And how, because there's nothing in between them, there's nothing here and nothing here. So, how do we know which one is subject and which one is object? We know that from I'rab. We know that file is always marfu in the state of Rafa. And now we know that our maf'ul is always in the state of nasab. It is clearly mansoob here with marker of nasab here, which is a double fatha. So Nasara Hamidun Zaidan. Hamid helped Zaid. In this sentence we have three parts of Jumla Fe'liya: fail, file, and maf'ul, and we differentiate between file and maf'ul from I'rab. Opposite to English, there is nothing here in between, or the word order arrangement is not such that we can say, oh, this is file and this is maf'ul. We can only identify file and maf'ul from their individual I'rab. And in this case, we can also actually add a fourth component. We can say Nasara Hamidun Zaidan Fissuki, Jar Majroor. So Jar Majroor here will be then Muta'alliq Fail. So Jar Majroor becomes our fourth component in this sentence, longer sentence. Then we've already made a complicated longer sentence, you know. So Nasara Hamidun Zaidan Fissuki, or Fil Masjidi. So Hamid helped Zaid in the market, or in the masjid, or in the mosque. Let's see what's hidden in here. Oh, here we go. So the default structure of our Jumla Fe'liya is we have got verb first, then fail, then file, and after that we will have maf'ul, as in this case. So that's the default structure of Jumla Fe'liya. What is the default structure, or actually the only structure in English of this sentence is Hamid helped Zaid. So here we can identify clearly by their individual places, by word order and arrangement here in this sentence, that what comes before verb is always subject, file, and what comes after verb is object, i.e. maf'ul. So Hamid helped Zaid. If we change the position of these two nouns in the sentence, the meaning changes completely. So we cannot really change the word order and arrangement here unless we want to say differently, something different. And if we want to say Zaid helped Hamid, then clearly we will bring Zaid before verb. In Arabic, we can easily do that without changing the overall meaning of the sentence. And that happens because of I'rab, and that flexibility is there because of I'rab. So if we say Nasara Zaidan Hamidun, so Zaidan, because it's mansoob, it is still our mafa'ul, our object, and Hamid in state of Rafa is still our file, is still our subject. So changing the words here doesn't really change the overall meaning, but here in English it changes the meaning completely. I keep on saying default structure of Jumla failure. Why do I keep on saying default structure? Because in English there's only one structure. The reason for that is that although the overall meaning of these two sentences is the same, but there is subtle minor difference, and there is a reason for that difference. If this information is completely new to our audience, to the people who we are talking to, we are giving information to, if this information is completely new to them, we will use default structure of Jumla failure. That will be fail, file, and maf'ul. The information is completely new to them. So that's the way to convey that information. However, if we sense or if we know that people know something but do not know completely, they're not sure, there is ambiguity over there. For example, people know that Hamid helped somebody, but they do not really know exactly who Hamid helped. They probably think he may have helped Zaid, but they're not sure. So in this case, we will use this structure. We will say, Nasara Zaidan Hamidun. Hamid helped Zaid. That Zaid is the one who Hamid helped, nobody else. Hamid helped only Zaid. That's another way of saying, but not anybody else. Not Bakr, not Umar. So this is the minor subtle difference between these two word orders and arrangement, and we have discussed why we have to change the word order and arrangement. It also helps if the rhyming of one verse to the other verse is concerned. It helps in that as well. Let us look at another fail, conjugate another fail before we call it a day. We've got katala here. Katala, kaf, tal, lam is our root, and katala is like zahaba. So he killed. And to kill, if we want to say, we will use masdar, which is katlun, to kill. So katala, he killed. And we can easily conjugate that. Then we say katala, katala, katalu, katalat, katalata, katalna. And from here it changes. Katalna, katalta, kataltuma, kataltum, katalti, kataltuma, kataltunna, kataltu, katalna. So these are our 14 conjugation forms. I have added this here. This we are already familiar. In Arabic we have got dual as well. So this is singular, wahid, tasniya, and jama. And on this side, this is muzakkar, muannas, masculine, feminine, and in this case, these two are used both for masculine as well as feminine. We have talked about first person, second person, third person in the previous video. In Arabic, we start from third person, and the reason for that is really then it becomes easy to conjugate. We will see that in the third person singular masculine form of the word is only three root alphabets, nothing else. So it becomes easy then to follow the conjugation. So we start from third person, and the third person in Arabic is called a ghaib. Ghaib basically means absent. But absent does not necessarily mean absent from the conversation, from the place, but the person actually is absent from the conversation, not part of the conversation. For example, the person may be sitting in the same room somewhere, but not being part of the conversation, will still be ghaib, absent, or may not be present there at all. In that case, it's absent anyway. So that's ghaib. Hadir is present, being in front of. So that's our second person. And the first person, the terminology we use is mutakallim. Mutakallim for the first person. So, so this is our terminology in Arabic. We should really become familiar with Arabic terminology. And lastly, I have an example here from Quran of this fail, which is part of ayah number 251 of Surah Baqarah. And the part of the ayah is that Katala Daudu Jaluta. David killed Goliath, or we can say Daud killed Jalut. So we can use the Arabic words as well. And here you can see why Arab is really important, because if we end up saying Katala Dauda Jalutu, although we have not changed the place of the nouns, meaning changes completely. So very important to keep Arab in our mind and say it correctly, Katala Daudu Jaluta. Otherwise, the meaning changes completely. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik.